I would be in a state of panic if I didn't trust Howie Roseman as much as I do. And I think he's built that over the past few years. We've seen him be ahead in this situation. We had a head scratcher when he drafted Jalen Hurts. Look how this has turned out. You talk about the young defensive line. Howie Roseman also knows with the departure of Milton Williams and the departure of Josh Sweat, he's going to have the highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL in a year or so, in a year or two, when it comes time to pay Jalen Carter. So there's a lot of things that I think he's actually getting ahead of. You think about this young defense, a lot of guys performed at a very high level. Jordan Davis was an important piece to what they did. Hopefully he can come in for Milton Williams and have a similar impact. But I look at this team, I think about Howie Roseman's history, I think about how he's been ahead of the curve. He's had to pay some guys. Yeah, I would be in the state of pay Paul. He seemed to be able to pay Paul in all of these situations. So I trust what they've done. Yeah, there are some names on that list that would concern me about any other franchise. Different tone from San Francisco to Philadelphia Eagles. And I think it has everything to do with what we've seen from Howie Roseman and the decisions he's made over the past few years. You got to.
Yeah, I think that's well said, but not deep enough in terms, like, some of these people that they're missing look better than they actually are because of how great the Philadelphia Eagles are, because of how great a Jalen Carter is, etc., etc. This team, from my viewpoint, I want to attack this from a few different ways. So first, I just want to say, actually, before I go in what I was going to say, second, I'll save that for second. But the first thing that I want to say also, though, is that anything that's being done right now is what needed to be done. Like, that is the benefit of having someone like a Howie Roseman, right? Whether this is what needs to be done to continue to build a better team moving forward, or this is what needs to be done because of the decisions that were made previously that then ultimately led to a Super Bowl. So there should be no questioning, quite frankly. There should be no confusion. And this is just I talked about this all throughout the season because obviously it was just the easiest dunk ever. But just remember how everybody was about Saquon Barkley, Bond, Fangio, Kellen Moore. I mean, there was so many decisions. Becton that people were like, what are the Eagles doing? This team's not going to be that good. They're not that good. And it was, and yet they obviously went and won the Super Bowl. And this is what I said to Philly fans when people were talking about, can they repeat? Can they three-peat? They're building a dynasty. And my whole thing is it's not about going back to back. Don't get me wrong. That's a cool feeling. It's a cool thing. And I said this to Kansas City Chiefs fans that, going for the three-peat, I get it. I get it from when looking at it from a franchise perspective. Like, it's an awesome feat the first time to ever do it, et cetera, et cetera. But, if you were to tell me, hey, we're going to win 5 Super Bowls over the next 10 years, it wouldn't matter to me if a bunch of them were, back-to-back or 3 in a row or something like. It doesn't matter to me. I'm looking at it on a longer timeline, okay? And especially someone like a Howie Roseman, these guys at the core of it are business guys. They're money guys. They're finance guys. I mean, they're essentially like the sport version of finance bros. And any good investor knows that the way you make money is on a long-term horizon. It's not the short term. It's not the get rich quick schemes. It's understanding that this is a long timeline. So you're looking at the Eagles on a 1 to 2 to 3 year timeline. So it's not so much of what do the Eagles need to do to make sure that they run it back next season. It's not so much that. It's what do the Eagles need to do to consistently put themselves in a position to be a top team in the NFL over the next 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, whatever the official timeline would be with. That's what it comes down to. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles have done for the last 15, 20 years, but especially the last decade. And it's directly led to 3 Super Bowl appearances and 2 wins. And heck, it could have been 3 for 3. I don't even want to say 3 for 3 because if they win the 1 and 22, then they probably make different decisions. They draft different players. Maybe Saquon never comes. So you can never just add another Super Bowl like that. It's just not the way it works. But obviously incredibly competitive. Obviously one of the best teams in the NFL over the last 25 years, but definitely over the last 10 years, 7 years, 8 years, since 2018, since 2017, excuse me. So when you're looking at football, you're just trying to figure out, because football is crazy. Football is crazy. So you're just trying to figure out, what can we do to make ourselves a legitimate contender? Because the Eagles could have easily lost this Super Bowl. They could have lost to the Rams. Again, I've already defended all those, and I'm not saying it was luck. I've already unpacked that all. But I'm just saying these are all possibilities. Again, the Eagles lost to the Chiefs. So you know how easy you can lose. You know it can be done. You know it. Heck, when they won in 2017, 2018, the Falcons, oh God, I can't think of his name. Anytime I have to think of someone's name, it always slips my mind. But whoever it was, the receiver for the Falcons, could have caught that ball. They could have thrown a flag. Not saying that it was a flag-worthy play, but we've seen it all. Again, the Eagles know firsthand. They've experienced all these crazy things that can happen. So the difference between winning and losing is so tiny. So all you can really hope for is that you put your team in a consistent spot to win. And so you're not going to win every year, but if you're actually legit, if you're actually good, if you're well run, well coached, well prepared, you're going to break free. You're going to break through. You're going to get that win. So that's how I view the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not so much of what do they need to do to get back to the Super Bowl next year. That's actually not as important to me. Obviously, you want it. If you're a big Eagles fan, you want that. You want to see them go back to back. You want to see them win 3 in a row. You want to see all that. I get it. I really, really do. But you just have to figure out what's realistic. What other choices do you need to make? Because, again, you're better off being competitive over the next 5 years, 6 years, rather than just being really great for a concentrated 2 years. You're giving yourself more chances to go to the well. And some teams that are not well run, that do just got to do whatever they can to get that one win, and I get it. Sometimes that is the play as well. That's not the Eagles. They are a deeply rooted, highly run, high functioning, all-time great franchise. In the prime of their it's a tough word to kind of figure out, but in the prime of their execution, the way how they're run, essentially, the prime of, I guess we'll just say the prime of Howie Roseman, right? And their stock is also at an incredibly high value where players want to play there. In 2014, people weren't dying to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. In 2025, they certainly would love to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. And now the Eagles, they're in that prime where players absolutely want to go there. They're willing to take less. They know that the chance of winning is high. They know the players. They know the team takes care of them. They know it's a great fan base, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's going to come and go to a degree. Honestly, obviously, the Eagles have sustained it for a long time because that's how well run they are. And that's what makes what they've been doing even more special. The Kansas City Chiefs are dependent on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That's what put them on the map. You can't say that it was Jalen Hurts. You can't say that it was Sirianni. They're contributors, undeniably. But it's just how well this franchise is run. If Sirianni goes and Jalen Hurts goes, it's not hard to imagine that the Eagles would find a way to get another great quarterback, another great team, and build something else. I'm not saying they do it overnight, like they didn't do it overnight with Jalen Hurts either, but that's the franchise at the core. That's not the Buffalo Bills at the core. That's not the Baltimore Ravens at the core. That's not the Kansas City Chiefs at the core. It's not any of these teams. The New England Patriots, what have they been doing? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So you're looking for sustained greatness. Sustained greatness. And again, I'm not saying that they don't have a chance to win. I still think that they're a top team. And the Eagles, and this is what I've been saying in all my Eagles videos, is they are the definition of a wait and see team because you have to see what they're also going to be doing in the draft. And they're also, what Howie Roseman also does, which is such an underrated skill set, is that you're simultaneously planning for today and tomorrow. And he does so in a way where, Jalen Carter now does just quietly sign an awesome contract. Jalen Hurts taking care of Saquon Barkley, you know, AJ Brown, Devontae. Like, think of all the contract signings that the Philadelphia Eagles take care of. These guys just sign. It's like, nope, they just signed nothing. You don't hear anything about it. All the song and dance that you hear with Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett. I mean, it's just this. Lamar Jackson had to hem and haw with the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson. You know? Tyreek Hill, is he going to be with the Chiefs? Is he not? You know, it's just constant. You know? Left and right, up and down. Eagles never have that. Never have that. Because they always have a plan. They're never backed into a corner, and they understand where all of these, you know, when all of these investments are due to pay, when they're all about to materialize. I can't talk right now. So that's what it comes down to, and it's also the major benefit of having a true brilliant GM, and when it pays to have someone who actually is more brains and more business than just like an ex-player or really rooted in, like, you know, roster construction, because you need a combination of it all. And also what great business people do, and again, it's not binary, but like, know how to use the strengths of other of your staff. And again, I think Howie Roseman does that beautifully as well. He is absolutely collaborating with his personnel, with a Fangio, with, you know, a Kellen Moore at the time, you know, et cetera, Shane Steichen, you know, whoever may be at the time. It's like, I've said this in a few past videos, not with the Eagles. I forget what team I was talking about, but, you know, collaboration and the importance of that. You see teams get in trouble when they look at things just through the football lens. That's when they back themselves in a in a financial corner. When you see teams that only look at things financially, things make sense financially, but then they don't make sense from a football perspective. The Eagles balance both very well because they're never trying to look too narrow. They understand this is the long play. And that's why over the last 25 years, they have the second most playoff wins, second to only the New England Patriots, who had Tom freaking Brady and Bill Belichick. That's absolutely insanely remarkable when you actually really put it in perspective. When you really put it, I mean, they're an outlier. Tom Brady and the Patriots are an outlier. So you can really just say that the Philadelphia Eagles have had the most playoff wins in the last 25 years. That's actually genuinely remarkable. That is sustained greatness that's not dependent on just one or two quarterbacks or something, you know. That's multiple teams, multiple quarterbacks, multiple coaching staffs. Like, I don't think people really understand just how extraordinary that is. Just look around the league and see what the other teams are doing. And by comparison, man, it is night and day. It's that simple. It's really that straightforward. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles losing some of their starters in free agency? Are you getting concerned? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.